All right, so what do I think of John 5 as a replacement for Mick Mars and Motley Crue? And this is a question I've been asked a number of times. Have chosen not to respond on it really because it's one of these things you can paint yourself into a corner very quickly by planting a flag in this one scenario, while there's probably 3 or 4 very similar scenarios out there that I might have a different opinion on. But I'll go ahead and share it with you. So first off, I don't know any of these people involved here. I don't know any of the members of Motley Crue. I don't know John 5, so I can't sit here and say what I think their intentions were. I can't question their decision from that perspective. I can look at it and say, as somebody from the outside looking in, here's what it looks like to me. Here's the perception that these actions have created in my mind. And with that being said, John 5, incredible guitarist. You'd be hard-pressed to find another guitarist that can work the fretboard the way that he can. Incredible technical skills, very melodic with his playing style. So, yeah, great guitarist. I love him as a guitarist. I don't think, well, he's a completely different guitarist than Mick Mars, completely different. So from the outside looking in, it's kind of hard not to see that as the band making a statement to Mick, giving him kind of like the big middle finger. Because you got to remember, the rumor was that in the early 80s, they approached Jake E. Lee about replacing Mick Mars. So it kind of feels like they've been waiting for that opportunity to replace Mick with a shredder. And this, again, leaves me with the perception of one of a couple things, that either the band never really understood the value that Mick brought to the table. Because think about it. They came out into the market at a time where every other, hair metal band had guitarists that were shredding the fretboard. And Motley Crue was different. Not only was Motley Crue able to remain relevant while being surrounded by all these, shredders, they owned it. They dominated it. They were the baddest rock band of the era, and they did it with a guitarist that was more about the riff, the rhythms, creating a vibe than just trying to shred the fretboard. So it gave them a differentiator. If they had a Jake E. Lee, they just would have been no different than anybody else. I honestly don't think they would have had the longevity that they did. I could be wrong about that, but that's the way I look at it. So either the band didn't understand what they had, or they just didn't appreciate it, or maybe it's even more personal. There was just something about Mick they didn't like. I don't know. But I don't think John 5, if you're trying to continue the Motley Crue vibe, I'm not sure he was the guitarist I would have gone after. Now, with that being said, again, he's a student of the guitar. He can probably emulate any guitarist that you want. So from that perspective, yeah, they got somebody that probably could emulate, but they made a statement with it is how I look at it. And yeah, I'm a little bit insulted by it because I actually really dig Mick's sensibility, what he brought to the table, why he was a different guitarist and created a different band than everybody else at that time period. So there's a lot about Mick I respect, and I do feel like this was very disrespectful on the part of Motley Crue as a fan. And that's my 2 cents. So dig John 5. I won't say anything bad about him. He's a great guitarist. I don't know what Motley Crue's intentions were, so maybe I'm overreading it, but it is hard for me not to see it as a big F you to Mick, is what I take away from this. So Mick's going to release a solo album, and I think when that drops, we're going to hear very clearly, without the rest of the band, what Mick's style truly is as it stands by itself, and then we can compare that to the band and John 5's inclusion. So there you go. There's my 2 cents. Let me know yours.